What is going on? Facey Space and interwebs and YouTube, and Ron is still dancing. You know, we listen to separate audio, and he is raging to Metallica right now, or Mannheim Steamroller. I don't know. Could be either
or Engelbert Humperdinck. Yeah.
You know, how ironic you said that, because someone earlier tonight I host music bingo on Tuesday nights. I know it sounds incredibly exciting. But I host music bingo up in Hampton, New Hampshire. And one of the guys tonight, I was playing a very well-known song, and he said, "Oh, who's this?" You know, he's being sarcastic. He's like, "Is this Neil Diamond?" He's like, "Wait, this is, so and so." And I said, "No, it's Engelbert Humperdinck." So that's twice that reference has been dropped by several people. I'm so impressed right now.
Let's go play the lottery now.
This is Ron. This is why we're friends. It's all because of Engelbert Humperdinck.
Yes.
So, anyway, there is exciting news on the horizon. Incredibly exciting news. For our 21st episode, we could be doing it live together next Tuesday evening, barring any delays. So we may be seeing you all live. Good evening,
Frank.
Oh my gosh. We may be seeing you all
Hi, Frank.
Together in person. As I will be venturing to the Sunshine State next Tuesday. If all goes well, I will be on the ground somewhere in the neighborhood of 5 to 6 p.m., which would be plenty of adequate time to get to the top secret location in time to go live together. So we may have a Three Dads Talk first. Like
that's right. And we really can't tell you anymore, or else we'd have to
tell you more.
Shower you in the really disgusting tasting jelly beans.
Well, I am super excited for one. Tegan is incredibly jealous for two. But Tegan had the opportunity last Friday to see Trans-Siberian Orchestra in Manchester, which has been on her bucket list as well as my bucket list for quite some time, and I have never seen them. We also had a bucket list to see Mannheim Steamroller, which she has never seen, but I will have the opportunity to see while I'm in Orlando, as they will be performing at Universal Studios on the 4th and 5th of December, this coming weekend. And they will also be there the 11th and 12th, I believe, if I have dates correct, which I may not, because, sometimes that happens.
I predict a multitude of selfies snapped by you and sent directly without interruption to Tegan's phone.
I think there will be some. I want to take some video. I actually, it's weird. I got my thank you cards printed this week. I'm very excited to bring those They have a little holiday flair to them. And they are more of a thank you for the past year. You know, what the CMs and team members have had to deal with over the last year and a half, almost 2 years now, is more than they needed to. In all fairness, uh, whatever you want to say, whoever you'd like to, put fault in or anything else, it was, no one deserved what happened to them in face to face positions in our society today. And that holds true outside of theme parks too. If you work in customer service, if you work in human relations, if you work face to face with people every single day, um, COVID brought a lot of people on edge into your space and left you on edge at times to protect your space. And it was not fair in a lot of ways to see the judgments going around our commentary about cast and team members and their change, so to speak, in attitude that was talked about. I think there were some pretty justifiable reasons for them to not be as glamorously happy as they have been in the past. And I am not in any way defending the people that come into work for a company now that don't take the right attitude. But I think there were a lot of people that were there before that were put under a lot of additional stress that we should maybe like give a little bit of a pass to some of the reviews that I have seen come out of this whole thing. I really feel like they deserve to be thanked. The frontline people that stood there and put you on rides during this while you ignored them telling you to put on a mask, or you laughed in their face or told them what an idiot they were when all they were doing was enforcing a corporate policy that was not written by them. So I think there's some unjust blasting that has gone on, and we'll do our part to make sure we say thank you to the team members and cast members over the next
I
week.
have I have noticed um, an interesting trend that kind of goes hand in hand with that since we're walking down this path. Now, you're as a guest always going to encounter um, on occasion those less than magical cast members or team members. It's going to happen no matter where you are, no matter what you're doing. You may catch someone who, it's a bad day for them or a bad week. We never know as much as people know to show up and put their best foot and best face forward. But on the other hand, you have to be aware that, if you show up as a guest, um, and you're confrontational and you're physical, there is an increase now in the willingness of cast members and team members to press charges. That used to not really be a thing before the pandemic. You have I had these conversations with many cast members. Never worked to talk anybody out of something they wanted to do or convince them to do something they didn't want to do. But now be aware if you think it's okay to reach out and rip a cast member or team member's face mask off, or become physical with them, accost them in any way, shape, or form, you're not only going to affect yourself, you're going to impact your family's holiday, their vacation. Now it's the kids and
Yep,
mom, or the kids and dad, um, now having to enjoy the rest of their vacation without you.
100%.
So think about that. Please be considerate and courteous, and we're all still trying to get through this. It's not done. We're not out of the woods. So let's find a way to return to civility. I know we can. The optimist in me believes we can.
You know what's funny? We had the conversation the other day. I was talking to some coworkers, and we were talking about how when COVID first happened, um, and we realized as a country we were going to be shutting down, and just the unprecedented levels of everything that took place, that people in our age group had never seen, people older than us had never seen, that the few people that were alive during the polio aspect of things could remember similar paranoia and fear. But there's really not been anything since then that was comparable to what happened. And and even polio, it was, everybody feared it, but there was never like the shutdown to the level of everything. It was still dealt with differently. And I think I had the expectation that that was going to teach our society, humility. It was going to teach us some respect. It was going to pull us back to let us know to be thankful for what we have. And I really expected the outcome to be 100% different than the direction it took. Everything almost went the other way. The entitlement and the and it's really sad. And not to harp on this stuff, because this, I know this is, we're talking theme parks, but again, this has had a direct correlation on the people that stand out there every day and deal with guests. When the one thing about Disney that held true for so long that really has not been the case in the last 2 years for whatever reason. And I'm not just going to blame COVID, but Disney was that magical place where people always went. And like, because of the guest attitude of it also being magical, it was easier for cast members to be just as magical to them. And
Right.
the energy reciprocates in an environment like that. When you have excited and positive guests running in and like, holy smokes, there's a cat, look at that, honey, look at this, look at that, hey, let's do this. Cast members see that, they feast on that energy too. They're just as happy to make you immerse into that magical moment and magical place. And cast members love that. When you walk up and give a cast member attitude about how you spent so much money on your vacation and how you deserve this and how you deserve that, and this cast member hears you talking about spending $10,000 while they're making $15 an hour, they're really not going to jump for joy and be like, hey, that's what I made last year, congratulations, you had the opportunity to spend that on your vacation. I would like to do that too. The sympathy doesn't roll the same way. It doesn't roll to that same, hey, I want to make your experience magical. It's like, hey, I want to slap you back into reality. It's, unfortunately, there's been more of that now than the former. And I would love to see it get back to the former in all the parks, where people go in with a good attitude. They appreciate the fact they're able to be there. They appreciate the fact that during COVID, Disney is still open and available to guests to be able to enjoy a vacation. Same with Universal, same with SeaWorld, wherever you're going. These theme parks that are open right now, they are open with some risk. There is some fear. COVID still does exist. There is still chance you're going to get COVID when you go places. This is reality. This is the reality we live with. That's also the reality for the cast members that work there and the team members. And you got to remember, they're getting up and coming to work every day to take that risk to make sure you can still go on vacation. So uttering the words thank you now and then, pretty nice thing to do in a very, very simple way, just to kind of make a cast member's day a little bit better. And you can do that everywhere right now, because people still don't have to be there. They make a choice to work. They make a choice with that job. And some may not have the choice to leave or not because they may be financially dependent on that situation, but others do have that choice. And some of the best employees down there have choices. And you're going to shoot yourself in the foot if you run some of the best staff in the world out of a place because you want to be an entitled, pardon my French, asshat. I'm glad to hear that, Frank. It really does make a difference, and you brighten somebody's day with a thank you. I had an event this past weekend. I had to DJ at a hotel that had a load in that reminded me of a Disney hotel. The lady was like, "Yep, just come through the front door and it's right down that hall to your right." And it was down that hall to your right, and then another hall down the right, and then another hall down the right. And then about a half hour later, I was down to where the function facility was, and I got to take an elevator downstairs and come back to the left about a half a mile. So it was like a 3-hour tour to get to the function room. And then when I get to the function room, there's a door right by the function room. And I said, "Can I just use that door?" She goes, "Well, you can, but there's about 10 flights of stairs." And I go, "Okay. Thank you so much for making me walk. At least it's flat ground and I got to roll my stuff." And I gave her a thank you card. And she said, "What's this?" And I said, "It's just a thank you for working." She walked the entire distance down to the room to say thank you for giving her the card and told me it made her day. And it was the nicest thing anyone had done for her all week. Simple appreciation, kindness, and thanks makes a huge difference in people's lives. Huge. So much more than you realize.
You made a great point about, be good to those people because you don't want to run them off. Those cast members and team members on the front lines, they are jumping through hoops and swimming through flaming waters to make sure the show happens every single day. And think about this. If you're going on vacation, if you're going on holiday to one of those parks and you tell your friends and family like, "Oh, that's going to be fun. That's so cool." The really neat thing, the further away from the epicenter of Orlando you get, the cooler it is that you work for one of those parks. And I can't tell you how many times that someone would find, "Oh, you work for Disney? Oh my gosh, that's..." and and now some of the people are saying, "Oh, you work for Disney? Oh, wow." And not because the job or role sucks, but because the behavior of the guest is becoming, Brian, help me here. What's a good word that I can say that won't offend the little ears?
Oof. I got big ear words.
Yeah, same.
It's
So at
after
least
9
you
it's after 9 p.m. We can use big ear
right,
words.
right. Be just you know what? We said we aren't going to harp on this, but we clearly feel strongly about this. We feel passionately about this for a variety of reasons. From any angle we're coming at you regarding this, it's for all the right reasons. You know, the the
100%.
idea the idea now of showing up and going to a cast member and saying, "Hey, I want some magic for my family," it mortifies and offends me. And we've talked about this before. Not how magic works. And if you think that's how magic works, my recommendation is, you know, maybe go to Chuck E. Cheese.
Well, and that's kind of the other thing. I mean, listen, Disney is making its share of mistakes. And I think we both agree that there are elements of their choice making right now that you and I personally wouldn't agree with if we were in management. I think some of the decisions they've made, we probably would not have made. We are not, again, representatives of Disney. We don't speak for the company directly, and we have no
Right.
ties, like to, there's no insider information. There's no anything else. This is just as a former cast member. And for me, as someone who has spent so much time there, that we have befriended CMs to the level that they are family to us. And, you know, I see what they go through. I see and hear what is so hard for them. And I'll tell you, frankly, one of my favorite coordinators, his first day at his new job was today because he left Disney. And it wasn't that he hated Disney. It wasn't that, you know, it was just he couldn't do it anymore because of what the expectation had become for him and the fact they're so short staffed. He was losing time at home with his own family.
Right.
And
Right.
I think a lot of people forget that sometimes what you're seeing when you see an edgy cast member is someone that just worked an 8 or 10-hour shift and just got told they have 6 more hours to go. That it's not uncommon, people. And sadly, there are levels of how that works with Disney that you don't get asked to stay. You kind of get told to stay. And I know there are times where, you know, they don't have the staff to keep things going for a while. They're trying to find it. They're trying to get fully staffed, but you have cast members that over the last year have basically worked double their normal hours or job description to pick up the slack because they are short staffed. So while you're crapping on the fact that you saw an overflowing trash can at Disney, instead of 100 janitors running a park for the day, there's 50 or there's 20. You know, it's not the way it was pre-pandemic. And people need to take into consideration just being realistic. It's, you see it in your own towns in small town America. You see it. I think it's funny when people start to talk about Disney or Universal as they're so greedy. The cost isn't the inflation, this, that, everything, price is going up. Wow. When was the last time you went out to eat in your hometown? Restaurants are adding COVID surcharges because cost to get supplies is astronomical. Restaurants are updating menu prices because a 40-pound box of chicken that was $80 last year is $160 right now. You're paying for things is going up because cost is going up. It's not all Bob Chapek going, give me your money. It's not that. It's that may be part of it. He just bought a $12.5 million house. He does need some money, but it's not all that. It's there's other factors coming in. There's supply chain issues. You know, I've heard people bashing about them not bringing back the trams and people joking that, you know, they did it because America's overweight and they need to walk more. I'm like, that's the most asinine excuse I've ever heard, because everybody that goes to Disney walks 27.4 miles in the parks that day after they get off the freaking, I want to enjoy my donut tram. But, you know, like, you're going to walk anyway. The trams, I've heard there's a couple reasons. Staffing is one. And the other big reason I've heard was getting parts. I guess the part that they, the company they use for those is based in Germany, and they're having a very hard time getting parts. And those vehicles sat for 2 years. There's going to need parts, like, or a year and a half, sorry, you know, and their theory is, yes, some of them run, but there's no backup when those stop running. So why would you start running trams if you're going to have no fallback plan if one of them does break down, and then you have to stop running trams again? It really doesn't make a lot of sense to do it until you're prepared to do it right.
Yeah, anybody out there who knows even the the smallest amount when it comes to engines, the worst thing to do to an engine or motor of any kind is to not let it run. And those things sat, and everybody's starting to feel it now. But again, all the parks, anybody involved in that industry is doing everything they can to make sure that people don't feel that there's a gap in the difference between what they've experienced before and the expectation being so much lower when they go now. I think everybody is trying to move forward and get to that place where, okay, we can breathe, things feel better, but we're not there. And I think it's going to take us longer to get there, as long as people are, rude and insolent and arrogant. As Frank pointed out, arrogant and overprivileged. Just don't behave that way. Don't behave that way. Everybody is showing up who is showing up, and they're doing the very best that they can. Like Brian said, you don't know about the cast members that are, if they're being forced into OT. What is that doing to their family? What's that doing to their home life? Those cast members and team members probably have brand new kids at home, young kids that they got to spend a year maybe watching grow and take first steps. Now they're dealing with entitlement, and they're dealing with nastiness, and on occasion they get this little bit of joy in a thank you card. Frank, we're going to have you on the show so you can talk about what that experience was like, because I would love to hear it from you. I know how Brian and Tegan feel about it.
We figured it out the other day that since we started, we've given out over 30,000 thank you cards. And
that is great.
It really has been a life-changing thing for us. I was a different person before we started doing that. And that's no exaggeration. It changes how you view yourself. It changes how you view your vacations. It changes how you view people. Um, it really does. And I'm sure Frank can correlate with that if that was his first time giving them out. It really changes the way you experience things, because it's not waiting in line for the ride anymore. It's literally sharing joy with someone that happens to work there. And you know, we thank random strangers when we're home. I have thank you cards that we give out to
Same.
random people. But when you're on vacation, it's just a different thing, and it's a great window and door to open up a line of conversation, or meeting people, or just brightening up someone's day. If they're having a crappy day, checking people at the scanners, and they get 30 seconds with you to put a smile, that resets them for the next 3 hours. Like, I know when I worked as a waiter and worked in customer service or as a bartender, when I had a real crap day and a customer just was like, hey, you know what? I just got to say, you were awesome. Thank you so much. We really appreciate it. Whether they tipped good or not, the thank you, the positivity, everything, it would just reset your whole vibe and gives you energy to keep going. And when the negativity feeds on the negativity and feeds on the negativity, it just chomps up at you, and it brings you to a boiling point where you're fighting off so hard, just snapping at somebody. And when somebody brings positivity, it's soothing, it's calming. There's more people, what's your line you always say? You get more with sugar than, like,
you get more bees with honey than with vinegar.
Yeah, there you go. There's your line. I love that line. And
yeah, I wanted to share, because I know this was a first for Frank and Brian. We talked about this maybe even on the show, but the beauty of things like the thank you cards for everyone listening and watching, that currency is worth more to a cast member or team member than even something like a lunch voucher. If, manager showed up and said, "Hey, love for you to stay an extra few hours and help us shut down the operation. Here's a lunch voucher so you can go eat." That compared to a thank you card, I cannot count the number. I probably could if I thought about it, but honestly, I off the top of my head can't count the number of green rooms that I've walked into and seen those thank you cards on the boards, on the walls, next to pieces of art and things that are drawn by guests, or have cast members walk up to me and they'll show me the card, and I gotta tell you, man, that's right up there with just thanking cast members, team members, and people who are working overtime and into overdrive to ensure you have, bar none, the most amazing experience ever.
What makes me nervous with all the stuff going on right now with the parks and with cast members reaching a point where some of them are fearing for their safety or their value of treatment, where there have been some physical altercations or assaults. A cast member shouldn't have to go to work and fear for their safety. A cast member shouldn't have to worry about a fight happening in front of them. A cast member also shouldn't have to babysit guests that know the rules. I think my biggest pet peeve over this last year with COVID is guests are well aware they're supposed to have their mask on. Guests are well aware of the rules and the structure because they make sure they know before they go. You have to read the voucher in order to get your tickets. You know the rules, but you don't want to abide by them because you don't think they apply to you. A
Right.
cast member shouldn't have to babysit another adult at Disney World or anywhere else. No employee should be chastised for telling you to follow a rule that you agreed to follow when you purchased your ticket. I'm sorry, that annoys me to no end. Like, if a cast member looks at me when I'm walking with Tegan and says, "Pull your mask up," I'm going to be like, "I know I'm not appealing to look at, and I will cover my entire face with my mask. I will do it. But I'll do what I'm supposed to because I understand the rules." And I wish there were more adults, especially to see a parent who's generally on vacation with a child make a scene that's teaching the child that's okay. That's probably more
Yep.
heartbreaking than anything. Is you're teaching your kid to be rebellious to the rule. Just follow the rules. Just go along. It's not that hard. You're still gonna have fun. Everybody's gonna have fun. You're in a park. You're at Disney. Relax, lower your expectations, and just enjoy the ride. If it's 5 rides in a day, then it's 5. If it's one, it's one. If it's 25, good for you. But don't set an expectation that you can't achieve realistically.
And honestly, it's important for people to recognize, this was pre-pandemic, this is now, this is whatever the future holds. Those rules, those guidelines, they're in place not because somebody has it out for you. They're in place for everyone's safety. Whether the rule is, keep your mask on when you're indoors or don't stand up till the ride comes to a full and complete stop. Those rules are there so that at a glance, this is what I need to do. You don't have to think about it. You don't have to question it because the parks, they want to take all of that heavy lifting thinking away from you so you can just go and enjoy yourself.
Yeah. And that's and there's the people that cut corners, like I see the people that, oh, glue an extra set of soles on your son's sneakers so he'll make the height requirement. And that stuff drives me crazy because I'm like, listen, there's safety rules in place for a reason. Just go by them. Come back another year if your son's not big enough for Space Mountain. As a matter of fact, ask the cast member for a certificate. They usually will give you the certificate to come back and re-ride when he is big enough. Like, they'll take care of you in that sense. You know, don't try to scam the system. And I think,
Please.
just follow the rules. Frank asked a few minutes ago, um, Frank asked, I think my internet may be slowing down a bit.
Yeah, it sounds a little glitchy, but you're okay. You cut out a couple of times there, but otherwise you're okay right now.
All right. Well, I apologize for cutting out. It's Disney censorship. No, I'm just kidding. The real talk though, Frank asked a little while ago where I'm going to be staying and how long I'll be there. I am flying into Florida next Tuesday. I am flying back the following Monday. From Wednesday night until Sunday afternoon, I am planning to be at Universal Studios, staying at Cabana Bay. I will be making a yeah, I will be making a venture over to the land of the mouse to enjoy a breakfast at Boma on Friday morning. And I am looking forward to seeing my friend and best waiter on Disney property. Okay, maybe not the best waiter, but my favorite waiter on Disney property, Christian at Boma, and getting to have my Boma breakfast, which I
I'm surprised you don't have anything lined up for Beaches and Cream.
I don't. I will probably try to do a walk-in. Um, I know. Okay, I know those of you watching are going to say they don't allow walk-ins and you can't drive up and just get a reservation. Um, we've never had a problem doing that. I'm gonna say sometimes we have had to wait 2.5, 3 hours. I'm not gonna exaggerate, but they will take walk-ins. It is generally bar seating. Um, I believe now they are back to their regular seating plan. So I think there's like 10 seats at the bar. There were only 4 originally during COVID, which was really hard to get a reservation at that point if you could only do walk-ins at the bar. But we have done. I'm flying into Fort Lauderdale, Frank. I'm not sure where you are, but I am flying into Fort Lauderdale on Tuesday. Um, but uh, we really have been very lucky with Beaches and Cream. They do take good
I
care of us.
almost I almost feel like, having been there as many times, I mean, with the kind of frequency, they recognize the face, the biometric scanner at the security checkpoint into the resort. The moment they just come over and, oh, there's Brian, let him in. In fact, they probably do that with the buses too. Oh, Brian's on the bus, let him in.
Yeah, I have a funny feeling there may be Brian's been going to Universal. Do not let him in. Maybe the opposite effect. But no, Beaches and Cream. I think most of the resorts are pretty good if you have some flexibility. I know they have been very strict with COVID. Um, you know, you may not be able to drive into Beaches and Cream. The guard at the Shack may not let you in, or at any of the other resorts for that matter. But if you're walking from Hollywood Studios to Epcot and you walk by Beaches and Cream and you ask the host
Right.
if you might have the opportunity to do a walk-in, they may let you. You may have some success. You've got to be willing to be patient though, and you've got to be understanding to the fact they may tell you no. Like, that it's a reality. Um, one benefit Tegan and I have is it is usually just Tegan and I, or just me myself. And if that's the case, it is easier to get a walk in with a party of one or two people than it's going to be if you walk up with 6 or 8 people. So if you have a bigger party, you are definitely advised by me and most other people I know, make sure you get a reservation or try to do your best to get a reservation. If you can't get one 60 days out, reservations as a travel agent right now, I will tell you, reservations have never been harder to get at Disney. Um, they're still seating limited percentages of the floor plan. Not all restaurants are still open, even now. There's, things that are being done a little differently. The 60-day window for everybody makes it a little tricky because, regardless to whether or not you're an on resort guest or vacation planner, or if you're just someone who lives in Florida that wants to get to Beaches and Cream, you can make your reservations 2 months out now. So the locals are in the same window that you are. So the most popular places are going to go quick. When you do have a reservation, you can make at 60 days your reservation out for your entire trip up to 2 weeks. So, people that say, I'm at my 60 days, how is it already gone? Well, everyone that has a 5-day trip before you already booked those days. So it is harder. The aftermarket pay for alert sites like Mouse Dining, and there's some other ones, they are worth doing. I have had very good luck with Mouse Dining, getting my alerts when a reservation opens up and jumping on it. It's how I've managed to get my Ogas, Beaches and Cream, and some of the other places that we enjoy. And we have been ridiculed for getting multiple reservations to the same spot on days. I have had people chastise me for doing that. And that's where I choose to spend my money. And I utilize the reservations. I'm not making reservations to waste them. I'm using them because I want to go to that place more than once in a day because I enjoy it. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And the people that want to say, well, you're taking it from someone who's never been, yes, maybe I am. But at the same time, I'm on vacation paying premium money to enjoy an experience that I want to experience. And I pay premium money. I go in, I take care of my bartenders and servers just like I would for anyone else. I don't overstay my welcome. I'm in and out in my 45-minute window, and I do my thing when it comes to Ogas. So I don't have a problem making multiple reservations a day.
I have to I have to share. I don't have that mindset. You're taking it away from someone else. That to me is analogous to someone getting mad at you because you got up at the crack of dawn to get breakfast because you knew rope drop was happening at a certain time at a certain park, and you figured it out having been enough times that if you get to the park right before rope drop, they're going to let you in and you're going to be able to do the things you want to do, and you'll get to experience killer attraction three
Yep.
or four times before moving on to the next one, and then getting something to eat. And 3 hours after you arrived at the park, you will have ridden a total of 11 times, 5 or 6 different rides. You got breakfast or lunch and then moved on to your next stop. People have to recognize this is a democratic experience. It is a great equalizer. Everybody has the same opportunity. You know, not where money's involved. Naturally, there are certain things there that are, you know, doesn't matter how much money you have, unless you have a membership, you're not stepping foot into Club 33. And the only caveat is naturally if you know someone who is a member. But that whole you're taking the experience away from someone else. That holds very little water for me.
Well, I just think it's funny because, you know, everybody looks for a reason to complain why they didn't get something. And I'll be honest, the first time we went to Disney, our first day at Magic Kingdom, I think we did 2 rides. I think we waited like 3 hours to ride Peter Pan, which, is kind of like the queue for Peter Pan is amazing.
Hmm.
It's better than the ride. The ride is kind of underwhelming, other than the nostalgia of it being an
Right. Right.
original Disney ride. But I mean, you're not going to be like Peter Pan's no thrill ride, folks. If you're getting on, don't expect to get off and be like, whoa,
Well, no, but the ride mechanism itself, I think, is brilliantly done, and certain aspects of it were,
it's
I mean,
nostalgic.
that was Walt's vision. So,
But I mean, in for its time, that was
oh
that
yeah,
was
yeah, yeah,
pioneering technology, and the nostalgia
yep,
of that. If you can reference that while you're on it, it's one thing. But most people go
right.
to a theme park, jump on a ride, and they want to be wowed, and you're going to be like, oh, cool. It's like my mother's Christmas village, and a couple of painted
Right,
characters. And
right.
when you really look at it, yes, it's impressive. But like I said, waiting 3 hours for that, you're gonna be like, really?
Oh yeah, no, it would be like comparing Carousel of Progress, which is something directly touched by Walt, to Rise of the Resistance.
Correct. But like I try to tell people, you know, we waiting in line is the biggest knock I see people talking about now. Oh, I can't believe I waited in line for that. And you know, do your research. And I'm not trying to be funny here, but if you wait in line for Safari, the Safari is a 20-minute experience. You actually feel like you did something. If you wait in line for Splash Mountain, it's over 8 minutes long. That ride, it's a fun experience. You're waiting for something that you get an end result that's not just a 90-second experience. You know, and I'll even bring that to Universal. The Hulk ride. Everybody loves Hulk, but that's a 60-second roller coaster. So if you want to
Mhm.
wait 90 minutes for a 1 minute ride, that is totally on you, but you can't complain about, oh, well, it was only a minute. Well, if you want to justify the percentages more, figure out what rides are going to be longer and try to pick those rides. And those are your, I'll wait for it rides. You know,
And Brian, you're giving me an idea, and we'll see how people feel about that out there in our audience. But maybe we can dedicate a few episodes to you know, going ride by ride, maybe by genre, maybe by this is great for the whole family, this is for adults only. Kids are going to love this, but adults are going to think it's a snooze fest. But you make a great point. Yeah, a really wonderful point. Do your research. Yeah, when Fast Pass was still a thing, people would tell me they got a Fast Pass for a particular ride. Like, it's a like you didn't really need a Fast Pass for that. You was like,
right.
well, we saw it was available. I was like, well, there's a reason it was available. It was available because you don't need a Fast Pass for it.
Right, right. The only Fast Pass was available was for Aladdin's carpets. Nice. And they were fun. The 6 times I rode them in 6 minutes. Um,
Yeah, there were Fast Passes available for the People Mover, the Tomorrowland Transportation Authority had to do it.
yeah, that's it. I love the People Mover. That's a good long ride. It's a
Same,
great down
same.
ride. And
It,
a
it's
little
also a great. It's a great way to take. It's a great way to take a pulse of that area of the park, and see how people are moving, what the pedestrian traffic flow is like, and also because you're elevated, it's a nice perspective. It gives you some great photo ops of things like the castle.
tidbit too. If it is not your first time at Magic Kingdom, it is a great ride to ride during the fireworks show. It is really cool to watch the fireworks going on around the castle from the People Mover. It's a really
Yes.
neat experience. Another ride that's great to ride during the fireworks is Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. Just because of the location of it, back behind the castle, you get great views of the fireworks going off, especially when you launch into the big drop on the backside.
Yep. And there's a third one. There's a third one, which is Epcot. It's the monorail to the park.
Yep. Yep. Big Thunder's also good during the fireworks. And Splash Mountain can be, but you're not going to get it the whole time.
Right.
But right before the big drop, if the fireworks are going off, it's amazing view. We've been lucky enough to catch that a couple times. Listen, there are rides that you want to take advantage of because they give you a sense of worth for your wait. We find the rides that are going to be highest in demand, like you talked about, we try to rope drop and be part of the initial rush. Now, we rope drop so early that we are literally in that first rush. We're often the first people in the park. If you're not that family and you're trying to get there and you're like 1,000 people deep, you are better off going to one of the rides where, like, if everybody floods to Flight of Passage, go to Safari, go to Navi River, go over to Everest, do whatever you got to do, but don't chase the crowd if you're too deep.
Yeah,
Understand?
honestly, that's a wonderful point you're bringing up. If you're going to Disney's Animal Kingdom and you're getting there early in the day, make Safari one of those early in the day visits because the animals are active, they're being fed. You're just
Yep.
you're more likely to see them actually awake and doing things versus sleeping.
100%.
My thoughts anyway. Yeah, we're gonna do I think maybe a 2 or 3 episodes on the kind of rides that are out there, who they're geared for, when's a good time to ride them, and I mean those things when you think about it, like is there a good time to catch a ride? Uh, is there not a good time? Even when the parks are crazy, um, the special events pre-pandemic, I haven't been to one yet. Now that things are up and running, but I remember things like Mickey's Not So Scary. Um, when the parade's happening, great opportunity to do the rides that you really want to do because everybody wants to watch the parade. They want to catch the headless horseman or watch, honestly, Boo to You. To me, we've talked about this. I think hands down, pretty much one of the most spectacular parades you could see. Did I lose you? Is it just me out there? Let's see here. Okay, I think it's just me. So while I've got you, I'm kidding. I kid. Yeah, one of the other things that we are looking to do is we're going to bring. Thanks, Frank. I appreciate that. Um, we're going to want to have guest honorary dads on the show, and I think we're talking about making Frank one of our first visits. I think I've got Brian back. Are you there?
I am. I
All right,
apologize for
perfect.
that.
No, no, that's okay. I saw you and then I didn't, and I wanted to make sure it wasn't me, but Frank confirmed. It's like, no, it's just you. So,
Story of my life. I'm here, then I'm not. Um, one thing I do want to touch on real quick is my plans for next week. And uh, obviously hoping to enjoy Mannheim Steamroller. Um, they have the Jubilation celebration or something. It's like the
Yep,
Grinch.
at Universal.
Yep. So there's a Grinch show that is now and then I have confirmed it now, in what was the Blue Man Group Theater. They're
Crazy
doing,
Uncle it is. Yeah, go
yeah,
ahead. I was talking to Frank.
and they are doing the Dr. Seuss show in there, which looked amazing because I did see a couple of video clips from it. Looks great. I'm looking forward to seeing that. Uh, Mannheim Steamroller, hoping to do a couple of the, I guess there's a tree hunt and ornament hunt that they do at Universal. I'm going to
Oh,
look
that's
into that.
fun.
I'm not sure what that is. I also want to check out the Tribute Store, which I've heard is amazing for Christmas. So I am looking forward to that. Um, I will be getting Tegan a little something to come home, for a
Aww.
Christmas gift for her. But I'm really looking forward to seeing Universal's version of Christmas. Um, one of the things I loved about going to Disney was seeing everything Disney did and how different the parks were at Christmas, and seeing the snow and everything else. Universal has it snow in their parade, from what I've seen. I'm looking forward to seeing the winter parade, the holiday parade. Uh, and I'm also looking forward to trying to take enough time. Ron, you will be impressed with me for this. I am not trying to open to close parks. I am going to try to take the boats and visit all the resorts. I want to take the time to walk around and see the decorations done in the different areas, including City Walk. I do want to take the boats down the waterways and check out Portofino, which I've never been to, Royal Pacific, which I've never been
It's
to.
such an amazing. You know what? I want to be a part of that. Um, the Portofino to me is such an amazing, all enveloping resort. I mean, I love the Royal Pacific too. There's just there's such a charm to the Portofino.
We
It's
were blown
incredible.
away. So we liked Hard Rock. We like Hard Rock a lot. I was blown away with Sapphire for the money. What that
Right.
resort was. I was very, very impressed. We have been very happy at Surfside, although it's loud. Walls are thin. Rooms are big, though. I was surprised. The suite, very affordable. Um, I'll be able to review a suite at Cabana Bay this week. At Cabana Bay in the spring, we stayed in the Volcano View room over Volcano Bay. Um, it was awesome. If you ever want to stay with a really cool view of that water park, they are huge 10-foot ceilings, and floor to ceiling windows in there. The views are incredible. Can't recommend that enough. I'm looking forward to experiencing the other resorts over the next couple of years, because it's going to take us a while to stay at all of them. I mean, we've still only stayed at about a half of the Disney resorts with all our Disney trips. We have one more Disney resort to stay at Disneyland. We haven't done Aulani. We want to do that in Hawaii.
Mm.
And I was hoping to do that for my 50th, but then COVID struck. So I may be doing it for my 60th.
You know the Macy's parade is happening at Universal.
Yeah, I saw that they do a like version of it.
Yeah, it's very cool. In years past, they didn't have all the floats naturally. I feel like somewhere between 6 or 7 and 12. The most impressive thing to me, of course, would be the sleigh at the end with Santa, and the Santa, the suit is the actual parade Macy's Day suit, which is really,
That's
it's more
cool.
than a piece of clothing; it's a piece of art.
That's actually kind of cool. I will say the little tidbits you learn about those parks, both at Disney and Universal, um, that you don't realize the depth to which things go. Walking through the dining room outside Velocicoaster, I overheard a tour guide saying that, oh, those skeletons are from the Jurassic Park movie. And I was like, really? And
Yep,
you know, the actual movie props are in there, which makes sense at Universal, but you don't think of it as, oh, this is definitely what was in the movie. You think it's a reproduction. You think it's a another thing, to come to find out that most of the things are very real there, and they're
yep,
they're they're very authentic, and what they're doing for their guests in that sense is a really cool experience. And almost every ride at Universal, and I didn't realize this either, but as long as they are able, so if you're there on a slower day, almost every ride has a tour. Almost. So at Men in Black, you can ask for the immigration tour, and they will bring you down onto the floor where the aliens are at the desk. When you walk over the rails as you enter the ride, you walk up above it, but they'll bring you down onto the floor. And I was actually lucky enough to go down there and got to sit at the desk and pretend I was working, and they made me an agent, and I got to learn how to save the world, and I got to sit with Bob and his brother, whatever his name was. It was like na 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 na, and but you you have the opportunity to do so many cool things if you take the time to do your research, and if you take the time to talk to a cast member or a team member.
yep,
Universal does a great job. They have a Gringotts tour that they take you through the bank and show you the stuff. They do the Men in Black tour. There is a Mummy tour. There's a Jimmy Fallon tour. These are just the ones I know of. I believe there is one for Forbidden Journey as well, that they talk you through the artifacts in the queue and show you around. But a team member will take you on the tour as long as it is slow enough and they have enough staff to take you out and show you stuff. And it's a really cool thing that Universal Studios does that not everybody is aware of. And there is no cost for those tours. That is not something you have to pay extra for. Those are just fan experience tours with team members that are excited to share their knowledge of the ride they work with the guest, and show you some new and different stuff that you may not have known. So take the time to chat up a cast member or team member and ask about it. Um, if your kid's a huge Harry Potter fan, getting a team member to lead you around the Forbidden Journey ride and teach you some stuff would be a pretty cool story for your child to go back and tell it classmates at school. Um,
yep.
those are the unique things, and a lot of people don't realize that those things exist out there. And all it takes is a little kindness. That's really it.
Yes,
Ron,
exactly.
Ron's tired tonight.
No, I'm always tired. Tonight's no different from any other night. I
That is
just
true.
I just realized we were successfully frittered away another otherwise reasonably good and useful hour.
Well, you know what's funny? I Tuesdays are now like my craziest day of the week. I literally am working at the dog kennel during the day. So I was keeping the peace between 100 some odd dogs today at work. I get up, I make Tegan breakfast, I take her to school, I go straight to the kennel at 8 a.m. I get out at 2, I pick Tegan up at 2:15. We do her paper route till about 3. I get home, feed my dogs, get them situated till about 4. Then I make a quick dinner for Tegan and I. Then I leave at 5 to go to New Hampshire to DJ Music Bingo, which finishes at 8. And then I drive back home, let my dogs out real quick, and jump online to do this. And it's literally nonstop from 5:30, 6 a.m. till 10 p.m.
Yep.
And that's why we do this. So it is amazing. And I know, Ron, you keep a similar schedule and you have similar stuff going on. And neither one of us would change it for the world. So I'm well aware. But we enjoy being here to talk these random chats. And like I said, after the first of the year, this is going to be much more of a show. We're going to have segments. We're going to have dedicated topics. Ron and I will communicate throughout the week prior and not just 30 seconds before our show starts and go off the cuff. Happy Hanukkah to you too, Frank. It is first night was Sunday, right?
It's the third night tonight.
Yeah,
Happy,
so first night was Sunday.
Happy holidays, everybody.
Yeah, I agree. And I'm looking forward to celebrating some of them with friends.
Yep.
Next Tuesday.
Yep.
But guys, thank you very much for watching. And I like the idea of going through the rides each park and what is worthy of maybe fast passing or getting the Genie Plus or Lightning Lane, whether or not you feel you could rope drop it. What is the best setup? And maybe that is a very worthwhile show to do, especially with the Genie Plus and Lightning Lane now, where you're going to pay to do rides.
Yeah, we can tackle all the parks, not just Disney, Universal or SeaWorld.
We'll try to save you money.
That's right. We're actually going to try to bring real value to this show.
Now you're talking crazy.
I know.
But anyway, guys,
well,
we're gonna wrap up. We're a little over an hour. I hope everybody had a great night. Frank and Jen, and those of you that tuned in, thank you very much. Wanna just say we will be back next Tuesday, and if flights are on time and everything flows smoothly, we could be live from Florida. That's right, both of us. Because right now I'm with George.
Yep.
I'm with George Lazenby up there.
Yes.
There's George. That was my one of my best friends in high school's father.
That's so cool.
He is a family friend and formerly James Bond 007. But on behalf of myself and my great autographed picture of George, we're going to say goodnight. Ron, you want to say anything?
Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening, and thanks for giving this show, us dads talking theme parks and getting on podiums and lecterns and preaching to the far walls a listen to. Be safe and be smart out there.
Why are we not working?
What in the world?